Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Vigyan bhairav tantra begins. Devi enquires. As I take you into the esoteric aspect of the teachings of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, it is not a ritual, it requires deep understanding. Bhairav means one who is beyond body, mind, intellect. How can you be beyond body? A little pain is there, you are talking to someone all the time, you are consciously or unconsciously making complaints, making the person know that you have bodily pain, you have this, or emotional pain, or anything else. Beyond the body means whatsoever happens to the body is not important. I am continuing to do my job. How can you be beyond the body? I'll give you an example. My great grandfather, the younger brother of Sheikh Lalaji, his name is Chachaji. Popularly he is known as by that name, but he is Raghuvar Dayal. He was a great player of tabla. One day he was playing tabla and his eldest son Sheikh Brij Mohan Lal was singing. Brij Mohan Lal had a melodious, sonorific voice. He was singing bhajan and Chachaji was playing tabla. It was dark, the lamps were not lit. He was so wrapped in playing. All of a sudden he said, there is something sticky. Today the tabla, the skin of the tabla seems to be sticky. And the light was brought. By constantly playing the tabla, his fingers were bruised and there were specks of blood on the tabla skin. And this made the skin made him remark, there is something sticky. Today tabla is playing good and sticky. There is a bodily infliction, but he is so wrapped in his work that he is not even aware of that. Sometimes such moment comes in rare times, but this does not become your abode. One moment you are filled with love, you are overflowing. You want to share all that you have with your friends, family, children, and you say, I am very happy. But this does not remain permanent. There are people who are jealous every moment when they speak. It is jealousy they speak of, overflows, hatred. All these emotions become part of one's way of life. Bhairav means one who is beyond the body, lives in love. Love is his abode. So what happens? We say that the forte of this person, if you are a technical person, IT person, whatsoever you will speak, your gesture, your way of speaking will make the other listener know that you are an IT person, because you will draw the examples from around your understanding. So Shiva lives in love. Love is abode. When I say love is his abode, I mean now he is not even aware of love. When someone is always complaining, he will not be aware that he is complaining. To him, complaining will become a normal way of his life. Whatsoever is your field or overflows naturally, you live in that. You live out of love. Then love becomes your language. Language, a physicist speaks the language of physics. IT speaks the language of IT. Everywhere his gesture, his way of life and examples that he will give will always be from the field that he has specialized in. Shiva is overflowing love. Whatsoever he speaks from that peak. A person of quantum physics, that is his peak, he lives on that peak. He is not even aware of the peak. And when he speaks, he brings the examples, gestures from there. Whatsoever is your field, whatsoever you have specialized in, the peak becomes plane. I had given an example. When the plane is taking off or landing, it's a different story altogether. When it reaches the altitude, you are asked to remove the seat belts and everything becomes normal. But those who are pilots, those who are air hostesses or cabin crew, they have flown a certain number of hours. So for them, even taking off and landing becomes natural. Shiva is love. The state of bhairav means that one has become love. He is not only loving, but his embodiment of love. His very presence fills you with that. It is peak. The peak has become his abode. How to make this highest peace possible beyond duality, beyond unconsciousness, beyond consciousness, beyond body, beyond the soul, beyond the world, beyond your so-called concept of liberation or moksha. How to reach this peak? What is the technique to reach to this peak? This is tantra. Tantra is pure technique. In modern language, I can say it is quantum physics. It is very scientific, and something which is scientific and technical, it becomes difficult to understand. There is no philosophy behind it. So you have to understand the questions, what Devi is asking and how she is asking. I had given you the example of bhairav. I give you another example. In 1981, when I was migrating to Trinidad, I wanted to go to the spiritual gathering in the month of October at the shrine of Brij Mohan Lal, my grandfather. So the 3 days function finished. The last day, my uncle, the Sufi Omkarnath, is meeting every person who is returning home to come back after 6 months or 1 year. He is sitting on the floor, concrete floor. October month, winter begins, and maybe a thin sheet or a thin piece of carpet is sitting on that, meeting the people. In the morning he got up 5 o'clock to start the last day's celebration. Even when he is having breakfast or lunch, people are surrounding him. I waited until midnight, 12 o'clock, to go and speak to him. But one after the other, people were coming from 4 o'clock in the morning until 12 midnight. He's sitting down in one posture. Can you sit down in one posture for more than an hour? You have to change the position. There is no sign of fatigue on his face. I wondered, where is he getting the energy from? The moment you are beyond the body, you are open to the infinite layer of energy. There are 3 layers of energy. First is physical layer, the second is emotional, third is cosmic layer of energy. The physical energy comes from the food that you eat. If you are eating nourishing food, your body will have energy. But there is a limit. And that limit is its threshold. Only up to this much is the physical energy. Suppose one evening you come home, you told your wife and children, I am very tired. Don't disturb me, I am going to take a rest. Because physical energy has exhausted. It needs to be recuperated. You do not know how to enter the second layer of energy. Then, all of a sudden, a phone call comes with some message. I am not saying what is the message, maybe good, maybe bad. All of a sudden, you jump out of the bed. Where you get the energy from, you do not know. At that moment, you have unconsciously entered the second layer of energy, that is emotional energy. And that emotional energy has its reservoir. It may take you to work longer than the physical energy can take you. You have entered, it is like you have come to the house, you want to take a rest. You enter through the living room. Now you can stay in the living room, or you can enter into your bedroom. There is a threshold between the two rooms, the living room and the bedroom. Sometimes the threshold now, these days, the way the houses are made, the threshold is not visible. Threshold is that place from one realm you enter into another. That is the door. The door frame. Door frame is the threshold from where you enter from one place to another. Then there is cosmic energy. There is a certain exercise to do it, how you can consciously enter into different layers of energy and explore them. The first is you start doing jogging or anything. Jogging is just an example. You continue to jog. You have now started today and you are doing it in the gym. On your own, you cannot enter into that realm until you are conscious, and when I tell you, you can work on that way. You start jogging, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending on the physical energy. And then you say to the instructor or to yourself, that is all I can do. I'm tired. I am pooped out. I cannot do any more. The instructor says you have to continue more. You can tell him that I'll fall down. He said, doesn't matter if you fall down or anything. It doesn't matter you fall down or anything, just continue. This is, the instructor is pushing you from the physical threshold to the emotional threshold. You start doubtfully, but you are surprised that you can continue for another 10 minutes. Because you unlock the emotional energy, it's a second layer of energy into you, which lies dormant. Then again after 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 13 minutes, a moment comes, he said, now that is enough, I cannot do anymore. The instructor says, no, you have to continue. You can do it on your own also. I never went to gym to pay the cost, did everything on my own. Then again when you do, you are in the realm of an infinite cosmic energy. The reservoir of that never ends. Bhairav means one who is connected to that energy, that realm of energy. To connect to that, there is a mathematical Greek sign called pi. It is somewhat a letter like, is not an, you can Google it. This is the bridge that connects your crown center, because beyond the center is the entire cosmos, but you are not connected to that. Meditation, watching that, connects you to the cosmic energy, and doing this exercise consciously makes you aware of the different layers of your energy. Then you can live in cosmic energy. Then you are living in your emotional energy. Then you are bhairav. Shiva is that. And now the way you are, if you come to someone and you ask him the questions, there is a way of asking the question. You can ask the question arrogantly. You can ask the question to test the person. You can ask a question to consolidate your own views, or you can just ask the question for your own transformation. That is why when someone asks a question, I look at the nature of the question. Can this question be transformed into the way that it can be beneficial for entire humanity? I rephrase the question and then begin to respond. Devi asks a question, personal question. Shiva gives it a cosmic flair and then responds to it. The way you ask a question is very important. It shows whether you are ready to receive the answer or not. A man comes to Buddha. He was an atheist. He said, I know you do not talk about God, you do not believe in God, and I do not believe in God as also. What do you say? Buddha says, who says there is no God? There is God all around and nothing else exists. This man gone. Another one came. He said, sir, I am a theist. I believe in God. What do you say? He says, who says there is God? There is no God. Then a third person came. He said, Bhagwan, I do not know whether God exists or not, but seeing you, I know something exists. I have come to your shelter. Buddha says, sit down and close your eyes. After the meditation was over, the man bowed down to Buddha and went. Anand, we have to be thankful to him, his cousin and chief disciple. Had he not been there, Buddha would have not explained such situations. He asked Bhagwan, what is this? To one person you said there is no God. To the other you said there is God. And the third one, he said the first one who came, he was an enquirer. His inquiry has not become a self-inquiry. He wanted my confirmation that there is no God so that he can continue to do his business. I say there is no God and Buddha also says no God. The other one wanted a confirmation that there is God and nothing else, and Buddha confirms it. You get the certification from Buddha. The third one was innocent. He was neither theist nor atheist. He simply wanted to experience what it is. That is why a master responds to the disciple, not to the question. The question that you ask comes out of your innerness. And what is your innerness? That is what he responds. Devi inquires, O Shiva, what is thy reality? O Shiva, what is thy reality? We can also ask this question, but it will not carry the same meaning. Devi has a certain, Devi is the consort of Shiva, who has lived with Shiva. It is important to understand why Devi asks Shiva, what is your reality? Firstly, Devi is in deep love with Shiva. When you are in deep love, for the first time you encounter the inner reality of the person. If you are in deep love with your beloved, you encounter the reality of that person, the inner essence of that person. then Shiva is not a form. She is looking into the formlessness of Shiva, and then she inquires. Shiva is not a person. Shiva, the form is no more there. Shiva is not body. When you are in love, deepest you go into the love, the body of the beloved falls away and disappears. There remains simply an energy, two energies pulsating to become one. The form is no more. The formless is revealed. You are facing an abyss. That is why ordinarily we are afraid of love. No one wants to or can enter deep into the love, deep into love. Love is the ocean. No one wants to dive into it because love is God. Love is godly. Love is divine. It is a divine river. You are always afraid of its depth, so you do not want to enter into the deepest realm. It is an abyss. You can face a body, you can face a face, you can face a form, but how can you face the formless? If suddenly your lover or beloved becomes formless, tremendous fear comes into you. If we can animate this movie, just as happens in case of Hulk, under particular circumstances and situations when he is filled with anger and filled with anger out of compassion, his form changes. If it happens with your husband or beloved, you will be afraid. So it's better not to go deep into love. If you love someone, if you really love, body is bound to disappear. Have you ever experienced or reached to that depth of love? Then you are far away from the reality. The reality that tantra is. In some moments of climax, of peak, the form disappears, dissolves. In that moment, one becomes unconscious. If in that moment of climax, you are conscious, that very moment you can become enlightened. That very moment you can be resurrected. In some moments of climax, of peak, the form dissolves, and through the beloved, you will experience the formless. The moment you experience the formless in you, you are beyond the body, you are beyond the mind. That is why we are afraid. And it is said, we are afraid because it is like falling into an abyss, a bottomless abyss. You do not know what will happen if you enter the deepest realm of love. Love does not mean bearing children. Love means entering into the innermost depth, the divine ocean. So it is not, so this question is not just a simple curiosity, O Shiva, what is your reality? Devi must have fallen in love with the form. That is why she is sitting on the lap of Shiva. Imagine Shiva is sitting in meditativeness. Devi comes, sits on his lap with her head bent, looks towards the countenance, the serenity of the countenances, looks at this countenance of Shiva. She drowns in its meditativeness and serenity. She forgot for a moment what she has come for. Then she gathers herself and inquires. Things start that way. Devi must have loved this man as man. First of all, you have to love that person, your lover or beloved, as a person. And now, when the love has come of age, when love has blossomed, the man has disappeared, only formlessness is there. He has become formless. When the tree begins to blossom, the tree becomes secondary. Now, Shiva is nowhere to be found. O Shiva, what is your reality? It is a question asked in a very intense moment of love. Have you ever asked your master, your sheikh, question in that very intense state of love? When your entire being seeks the answer to this question, you are pulsating. You are ready to receive. You are the receptor to receive all that overflows. It is a question asked in such an intense state, moment of love. And when questions are raised, they become different according to the mind in which they are asked. So create a situation, a milieu of the question in your mind. Devi must be at loss. Shiva has disappeared. When love reaches its peak, the lover disappears. There simply remains a formlessness. Why does this happen? Why does the lover disappear? This happens because really everyone is formless. Formlessness is your essence. You are manifesting as form. You are not the body, but you move as body. You live as body, but you are not the body. When we see someone from outside, you see the body. Love penetrates within. When we say he is an embodiment of love, embodiment of compassion, you are looking beyond the body into his qualities. Then we are not seeing the person from outside. When we say he is a compassionate person, he is a loving person, is his body loving? There is an energy that flows through the body, through the gestures, that makes you determine that he is a loving person. Then we are not seeing the person from outside. When you are overflowing love, you can see a person as the person can see himself from within. Then the form disappears. I know, you know what you are within. I know. It is not the words. I am speaking how this energy that I am overflowing with can be communed to you through these live streaming. Language is the way. The sentences become like mantras with a certain intonation, with a certain rhythm, and through that an alchemical equation which cannot be transformed if you have to form the water. The chemical formula is 2 molecules of hydrogen, 1 molecule of oxygen, plus MnO2 equal H2O plus MnO2. This formula never changes. When things are in that particular equation is balanced, water is the outcome. I am speaking to you, and through these words, through these sentences, through the gaps between two words, a certain energy field is being communicated, communed through the, and I am speaking, it is analog. It goes through my system, converted into digital. It reaches your receiving receptor, and your receptor transforms it back digital into analog, and you hear the analog, if I am correct. A Zen monk, Rinzai, attained his enlightenment, and the first thing he asked was, after enlightenment, where is my body? Enlightenment means you have experienced that you are not the body, you are energy. You are formless. That is why to live in that state 24 hours is very difficult. To be guided, living into the world, in the world of duality and conflict, and guided by that awareness that I am the energy, I am the formless, how difficult it is. But the real test of the person is that you live in the body, but body does not live in you. When you speak as energy. When you walk, it is an energy that is walking. Watch a Buddha walking. That is why one of the meditation is a Buddha walk. It is said Lao Tse used to go for a walk every morning. One day his neighbor asked him, he was continuously asking that he wants to go with him for a walk, but Lao Tse always refused. One day he said, okay, you can come with me for the walk. He went. Probably for the first time he got up at before sunrise, and he saw for the first time sun rising in the sky. He told Lao Tse, how beautiful is the sunrise. Lao Tse did not say anything. When they reached home, Lao Tse told the person that you are not accompanying me for a walk. You talk too much. You talk too much. What does a master does when he is walking? I recall I have learned these things on my own. The subtle etiquette, when to ask question, how to ask, and how to be a receptor after eating food or in the evening during the summer month. The rooftop was being used, and my uncle, he used to go up there and walk. What is he doing there at that time? When you are sitting in your office, or I am sitting in my office alone, do you know what I have to do? I have questions, I have queries from many people from around the world. I sit down and connect to each one of them. Someone wants his place to be blessed. You visualize. I am sitting down with my eyes open, quietly, using my visualization, and then instructions penetrate through that physical space, the mental space. Each place, each individual is pulsating with life. At one moment your energy level may be low. This also happens with the places. So at that moment, he is communing with all the people who are connected to him out of love. They are not his followers. They are fellow travelers. You are not my followers. Do not follow anyone. Someone said never follow a bull, a donkey from behind, a bull from the front, and an idiot from any side. So never follow me. You are a fellow travelers. If you are ready to travel a few steps with me, as I walk along life's garden, you are most welcomed. So, if there is any question or message to be given that food is ready, stand up, waiting for his attention towards me. Then maybe after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, when he has done what he has to do, he will ask. When he asks what I have come for, only then I will respond that food is ready. They are waiting for you to come for dinner or something else. This is how the communion happens. So after enlightenment, Zen monk Rinzai asked, "Where is my body? Where has my body gone?" And he began to search. He called the disciples and said, "Go and find out where my body is. I have lost it." He had entered the formless. You also have a formless existence, but you have not, and that formless existence is your real existence. You have not known it. But from others' eyes you have known. You have known yourself through the eyes of the others, through the mirror. You have known yourself through the mirror. Somebody, while looking in the mirror, sometimes while looking in the mirror, close your eyes and think, meditate. If there is no mirror, how would you know your face? If you do not interact with the people, how would you know how good or bad you are? The other becomes mirror. This is why husband and wife has an intimate relationship. They mirror each other. If there was no mirror, there would have been no face. You do not have a face. It is the mirror that gives you the face. When you interact with the other, that interaction gives you a face. Think of a world where there are no mirrors. You are alone, no mirror at all, not even others' eyes working as mirrors. You are alone on a lonely island, nothing to mirror you. Then will you have any face? Or you will have any body? You cannot have one. You do not have one at all. We know ourselves only through the others. Others can only know your outer form. That is why we become identified with it. Another Zen monk, Hui Hai, used to say to his disciples, "When you have lost your head meditating, come immediately to me." When you have lost your head meditating, you come to me immediately. When you lose your head, come immediately to me. When you begin to feel there is no head, do not be afraid. Come immediately to me. This is the right moment. Now something can be taught to you. Something can be infused into you. With the head, no teaching is possible. No communion is possible. Head comes in the way. Devi inquires, "O Shiva, O Shiva, what is your reality? Who you are?" The form has disappeared. That is why this question. Suddenly, in that moment of extreme love, the form has disappeared. Sometimes you would have noticed Your spouse says, I can't understand what you are. Devi inquires, Oh Shiva, what is your reality? Is it form or formless? Who you are really? The form has disappeared. That is why there is question. In love you enter the other as himself. You enter the love as himself. It is not you who is answering the question. You become one, and for the first time you know what is abyss, a formless presence. That is why centuries together, centuries and centuries we are not making any scriptures, any picture of Shiva. We are only making Shivlingam, the symbol of creation, the symbol of energy. Shivling is just a formless form of Shiva, of that energy. When you love someone, when you enter into someone, he becomes just a luminous presence. When you enter into someone out of total love, you experience the luminosity. Shiva is constantly living in that state of oneness. That is why the Kailash mountain is both generator and receptor of energy. It attracts. It is luminous. It becomes a luminous presence. Shivling is not just a phallic symbol, it is a luminous presence, just an aura of light, an aura of creation. That is why Devi asks, what is your reality? 1 hour has passed and I just continued creating a milieu around you so that you can understand this answer. What is thy reality? Then she continues, what is this wonder-filled universe? What is this wonder-filled universe? We know the universe. We never know it as wonder-filled. In love you become innocent like a child. Your eyes begin to wander. Awe comes in. This awe is a symbol of wonder. Devi, having asked the first question, she asks, what is this wonder-filled universe? And when she has, now I have only spoken one aspect. Shiva is meditative, but he is aware that someone is around me. Let me finish my meditation. Just as when Sufi Omkarnath is walking on the rooftop, it is dusk. I am standing on the corner waiting for his attention. Having finished his work, he inquires, yes, anything? So Devi has asked the question. Shiva is in that state of meditativeness. Devi is in a state overflowing, manifesting love. In that she finds the Shiva's form is no more. Only the formlessness is there. For the first time she becomes aware of the formlessness of her beloved, formlessness of her lover. But Shiva hasn't started speaking as yet. Devi now asks the second question. Shiva is still silent, meditative. He has not entered from formless to the form. Unless one enters into the form, he cannot speak. Yes, if the two formlessness merge into one another, which is in biology called the process of osmosis, where two solutions, one concentrated and one dilute, is separated by a semi-permeable membrane, and then there becomes a communion. One where does the communion happen? The concentrated and less concentrated begin to merge into one another to become one consistent solution. Master and disciple begin to overflow. That semi-permeable membrane of the form has disappeared between the two. I have to take a little bit of my scientific understanding as well to put forward my point. Only this much for this morning, until we meet again for another esoteric journey through the oasis of love, through the river of love. Until then, take care. Do have a pleasant day.